Hey there, do you have wrist pain while exercising? Well, here are my top 5 quick fixes for helping with wrist pain. Hang on to the end and I'll give you my 5 ultimate game changers as well. So first off, when you're on your hands and knees, you need to spread the load, which is literally spreading the load through your fingertips. So when you're on your hands and knees, spread those fingers. Feel the entire surface area of your hands making contact with the floor, the palms of your hands up through the fingertips. Every millimeter of your surface area of your hands is helping you spread the load of your upper body. That can make a difference to the weight of your wrists. Secondly, you can lean slightly backwards. So you don't need to be straight on to your wrists here. You can lean slightly backwards and literally take the load off. You could also come onto your fists sometimes. I don't recommend this all the time, but alternating between maybe leaning back slightly and going onto your fists is a good idea. Tip number 5 is to take your yoga gloves. They have a little cushion in them here to protect your wrist, give you a little bit of cushion there when you're on hands and knees, and it takes a bit of the pressure off. If you don't want to buy a glove like that, you can just wrap your yoga mat up maybe an inch or so that you have the heel of your hand, just the heel of your hand on the yoga mat. Fingertips are still on the floor, and that takes a lot of pressure off. Over time, as your wrists get stronger, you'll be able to lower the height of that yoga mat so you don't need as much support. So they are the 5 quick fixes for wrist pain, but the 5 game changers are really where the magic happens. First off, before you work on your hands and knees, you need to warm up your muscles. So every time before you get down onto the mat, you need to warm up the muscles for your hands, for your forearms. One way to do that is to just do some circles. So you interlace your fingers, do a few wrist circles like this. Try going in the opposite direction if you can. Of course, you can just do it like this as well. Another way to warm up your muscles is to put your hands on the mat. You don't have to lean straight onto them. Even just here, leaning slightly side to side will start to warm up the muscles. And you can change the angles, maybe slightly outwards. If it aggravates, go back to where you were. You can maybe go all the way to the side, go sideways, and then alternate between spreading your fingers, repositioning your hands, coming onto your fists, coming back down again, just kind of mobilizing, warming your hands up before you start the exercises. Tip number 7 is to modify the exercise. So for example, if you want to do a press up on the floor, rather than doing this on the floor, you can put your hands up on the wall, do the press up against the wall. And to make it more difficult, you bring your feet further away from the wall. You're still getting the benefit of the press up, you're putting less pressure onto your wrists. If you're working on your hands and knees, for example, for the Superman exercise, then rather being on your hands and knees like so, well, first off, you could lean slightly backwards. That'll take the pressure off. But another alternative is to go onto your forearms into this position. So you don't always have to work directly onto your wrists. So just keep that in mind. That's tip number 7. Tip number 8 is to mobilize your hands throughout the day. So not just warming up before the exercise, before you get down onto the mat, but throughout the day, use opportunities to give your hands some TLC. I like to do this with a melt ball or a squash ball placed on the thumb pad of my hand. Interlace the fingers slightly and just massage the base of my palms of my hands a little bit. That feels really good. It's a lovely neck break as well. You could also do this on your table at the computer, just rolling, just massaging really the palm of your hand using the squash ball very gently. It's not a massive pressure. Very gentle massaging through your hands. Another way to mobilize your hands throughout the day is, if you're using hand cream, is to take the opportunity of rubbing the hand cream into your hand to give your hands a bit of TLC, a bit of massage. You could individually, feels really good, massage each finger as well. And working on your fingers and your hands helps your wrists. So that's a nice way to mobilize your hands throughout the day, not just when you're exercising. Tip number 9 is to use your core muscles. This is really important, particularly when you're on your hands and knees. For example, like so, if your core muscles are not engaged, so if you relax your tummy muscles on purpose, see what happens. Your tummy starts to hang, so you end up like a donkey and on the beach with somebody very heavy sitting on top of you. But not only does your tummy muscles hang, your shoulder blades are pinching together, and that puts huge pressure onto your wrist. So the pinching together is here. Yeah, you've got your shoulder blades pinching together behind you. You do not want that. You want your shoulder blades separated. So this is like a plateau, not a valley. Okay, that's really important. So when you're on your hands and knees, if your thigh muscles are not switched on, you're in that valley between your shoulder blades. It feels horrible for your neck and it feels horrible for your wrists. So to get out of that, push your hands into the floor. And although you might think this would be worse for your wrists, it's a lot better. So push your hands into the floor. You're no longer in the valley now between your shoulder blades. You're in that plateau. Shoulder blades are no longer pinching together, and switch on your tummy muscles. So that helps as well. You're not hanging here. You're back up here, but you're pushing your hands into the floor. And you'll feel these muscles here engage. It takes huge pressure off your wrist. Really important. And you can bring that into your exercises as long with also with the leaning back and spreading the fingertips. Really helps. Try it yourself. Letting go of the pressure on your wrist and your neck, and then push into the floor and switch on thigh muscles. Takes loads of pressure off your wrist. It's a real game changer. Lastly, tip number 10, stop doing the things that aggravate your wrists in the first place. This is not always possible, but often the things that aggravate your wrists are typing, texting, pushing a pram, gardening, knitting, gaming, whatever it is. Figure out what it is that's annoying your wrists, aggravating them, and try to do less of it. Or if you have to do it, for example, if you work on the computer, build in breaks throughout your day so you're doing smaller bouts of whatever it is that's annoying your wrist. This is a real no-brainer, but it's one people often forget, is to minimize the abuse really that your wrists are getting and start bringing some TLC back into their life. That will really make a difference. If you'd like to see a more detailed visual of what I'm talking about with the shoulders, you can check it out in my blog. I'm going to include the link in the text below, annettekashel.com/blog, and you'll see some photos there of the shoulders in valley and a plateau. I hope the tips really help you. Any questions, just let me know. Take care for now.